Yell at me in front of customers? Lose your job. I worked at this electronics store for about 8 months when they hired this new manager named Derek. Guy was maybe 40, acted like he invented customer service, and had this obsessive need to micromanage every interaction. From day one, Derek had it out for me. I'd be helping a customer with a laptop, and he'd interrupt asking if I mentioned the extended warranty. I'd be organizing inventory, and he'd double-check my work like I was incompetent. Other employees noticed it too, but nobody spoke up because Derek was tight with the regional manager. The breaking point came on a Wednesday evening. We had this elderly gentleman, probably in his 80s, trying to buy a smartphone for his daughter. Sweet guy. Reminded me of my own grandfather. He'd been asking questions for about 30 minutes, and I was patiently explaining all the features, showing him how to use the camera, the messaging app, everything. Derek was behind the counter watching us with this irritated expression the whole time. The man was taking his time, which made perfect sense. New technology is confusing when you've never used it, and he wanted to make sure he understood everything. That's when Derek lost it. He stormed over and said, "Sir, he's been helping you for over half an hour. Either make a purchase or we need to help other customers." The gentleman looked startled. I tried to intervene, saying it was completely fine, but Derek cut me off. "And you?" He pointed at me. "Stop babying customers who clearly aren't serious buyers. We're running a business, not a tech support clinic." The poor man looked embarrassed and started saying maybe he should think about it more. I felt terrible for him, but Derek wasn't done. "This is exactly why our conversion rates are garbage. You waste 40 minutes walking through every single feature instead of closing the sale." Here's what Derek didn't know. This gentleman had mentioned earlier that his son-in-law owned 2 major electronics retailers across town. His family was well known in the local business community, so when Derek finished his rant, the man quietly pulled out his phone and made a call. "Hello, Michael. It's Dad. I'm at that electronics store on Main Street and wanted to tell you about the service here." Derek's expression shifted from annoyed to confused. The gentleman continued, "The young man helping me has been wonderful, very patient and thorough, but the manager just told me to buy something or leave." He hung up and smiled at me. "I'll take that phone, son, and I want you to handle the transaction." While I was processing his purchase, Derek tried to backpedal. "Sir, I apologize for any confusion. We just want to ensure all customers receive attention." The gentleman completely ignored him, paid with a platinum card, left me a $30 tip, and told me I had excellent customer service skills. About 2 hours later, this well-dressed man in his 50s walked in asking for the manager. Derek approached confidently, probably expecting praise. Wrong. It was the customer's son-in-law, and he was not pleased. He told Derek that he knew the regional manager personally, that his stores bought from the same distributors, and that he'd be making some calls about how his father-in-law was treated. Derek tried blaming me, saying I spent too much time with non-buyers, but the son-in-law cut him off. My father-in-law specifically mentioned that the sales associate was professional and helpful. You were the issue. The next morning, Derek was packing his office. The regional manager drove down personally to terminate him. I found out later that the son-in-law had called and said he'd consider it a personal favor if Derek was removed, and that he might discuss some business partnerships if the situation was handled appropriately. I got promoted to assistant manager 3 weeks later. First change I made was posting a sign, "Questions welcome. Take all the time you need."